reset edi babeye amagana for nam se babenya a paradigm shift the way we go about our things but about appointment family and friends or catch a kufabi and no no and over kobe bia and you crumnia na damfo and you crumnia na damfo what about economy wo mo je ho say $1 a coffin na see their bathroom. It is not reflecting because the government or more buying the public service charges to public service charges to and now uko diviela to uko allowance kaya to electricity oba no dey one cedi to one fuel 1 liter so ofu an was 15% abeto so water because of the turbidity of the water that I'm saying for that Roman almost had 4% at also okoye due process our ministry sir sika nanka you statutory payments ni nyina akosoro eti mi ankasa mentiase minim ba bia yewura mama opeso okire na me be na me tie kokobodua na ndi nkomo say knee jerk reaction ya tete friend say workers wo kokobod wo mo aketua so na ye transfers kana akwa ye top up ama kokobod no wate so na say scan mo tie fa aketua no a wo mo tie no wo mo tie dia ye ba dia I just mean say asemaba 87 years
to consolidated fund
I 87 years cocoa price yente soda ada say be maintain and I say ye betum kakra. Where lies the cocoa board buffer? Aka in times like this, okay, be cushion the situation.
But the times that we have ourselves, we find ourselves in, quite different. If you listen to the finance minister now, take commentary, chief executive cocoa board Arania, it cannot be the normal times. Buffer be and I say because or say criminal acts are a physical someone in your mind over the years. That's number one. Number two, nye cocoa board ni kuta tumia one de share drama also born because it keeps fluctuating the cost of again expenditure at cocoa board. Akwani bi ya faso aye hwehwan your mercy from say be boa mai na ya bro pepe ne say yesu say sikani bi woso no mani bi toto ne ho hia etete so ye tu sa na mo nyina. When we try to restructure and reset, you have a problem. When we don't restructure and reset, you have a problem. Ti kosi enkosi koda enkoda. How do we go through this process and then all of us will be happy?
Is that a justification?
Well, let me tell you one thing. Omo eco cabinet resolution by say they are going to give cocoa farmers 90% of world market price.
Correct.
So if say everyone me TV, I drop it from 4,000 as about 3,434. And did I better be no to 1,900. Now 90% of $1,900 more. But is it going to better the cocoa farmer in life finance? You see, Sasemba me proposition as a massa knee jerk reactions. Most had the same more. Asemba, you lay back, you call people who matters. Woman might be removed. Now no more far because 90% to that figure. I'm called baby. When the problem comes up there, you transfer the problem to the cocoa farmer. Cocoa beans only more market price. As I want to play with say, Wakachen play with the minister. Play what did you amadiache? Play with come to Nakwakachen and say, Minister, oh, kind then. And I used to old bantama. Mammy be a one more basic one. Obiama the best cash on Cotomuni Bini. Obaba asked me, say, I won't have been a part of what myself, baby. Anyone and some more kind. So what's now Shemwa? Cocoa Casebe are the value. You go school, Namisa, and a value addition. Ya can't be seen. No, yes, nothing to show. It is some of the time, winning. You fuck crown, not cocoa. Yeah, consortium of banks. I don't know more than any other find the cocoa. It's over Kaya September, the next Kamuba system. Yes, cocoa scaba. Sad time now, I can say, now you control over the price. NDC and BP call say kwa syndicated loan every source na ko supply koko no na me meto ho me na me beto koko wo beto koko amame wa me hu so wuni ska kra de beto koko na sa na de abre me e ti le me di 30 price exactly mo e ti bari for de ye koko industry na ko che woman turn next to nothing because broni onya hu say wo uni capacity o miawa ma onahu ehojo
mesaba also
go bonds no be one
all Zuma it is say and open me be na me say o ho sim you aba na say bisa o me be na there be any bonus
that be me
was ya trans tinam say bisa but I'm sure say be program na baby boko
boko but
what you say
nyame adom ma menchia ona menchia me offer Odike ne menua me leader Collins so the last time I share na the fearful fruit correct the fear yan san share bi
na mo bonjo so na muntaka decision on the castle matter because mo chairman be
baso ye be ba ko menim sa kwa ba na dia mami
pepe
ena baby a me offer Odike
eko wi
e sha se ni baby ode wi ni futu a wa to wo ya sa na bi ja ho kwa
me na okra jina ho na ye wo
ni we dia se me jina ho
ya se ka ku be yi ko
na mum baby ode fa ene dia bebre me ne nya adwene ena se me offer dia wo ka ye de o man na ma wanka be butu no yes ye do man na ma ye o mampani a me tie odin ka be dane o man na butu enti ya minim de o ye na Ghana fo nim de o mo enti twan amamwo na nye simple za o
na obi flo sebra
obi fly sebra but
mama ya
me ba ha check akra metna hodi na me hwe ya na
o friends me say o media ka me
but the all kind no na me reference but still na no o the opportunity say o besan rebut yeah if any yeah because Cocoa board asem na ba no anasa abaya ye kan ho asem no ye betimi no more politicians betimi their politics. I am very much interested in the cocoa discussions because me free a cocoa growing area. Yeah, yeah, the cocoa netete me. In fact, ya wo me to cocoa ase. I work na me ma me wo cocoa ase. Na manyinim enti ye dokwa ye bu nua ye prokan na ye hye ya bo atodwe. Sisi ekura de cocoa agrek na cocoa board adaroma. Education akoso a menne ye nesi koku na yakotu ni akopeje ni ya basabre no ye dua koku ti seto da bia ye dua mo depending on how I feel as no etie na enyine ba ye twetwemu akopem se ebenya gaps and distances a koku dua bia be se na so ne intervals yes enti minim sane ye papa no mo ton koku na ye nso ye ton abinchi koku no de enye no eye na bana you feel say no ye substandard and answer the standard quality no ye no ye ton minimum asemba e makọ before say reduction neba no ade chi bia na me constituency for no dodo no frame obi wo ha na yire okwa awo so we yesi okoton kokko onya sika in fact animdifo a omampani mahama ene ne cabinet before so mo take side decision on Wednesday say say any 2 weeks or any week you know nim mama pen obeti ma paper na mama pen no wo pen she be botu ma
na de ko na me de papa
wanjo bre no
me pese me boa no
se mo fa se
oni animdifo na tenas in fact yesuma ye kokko areas no ko busa o mo ye ko kire o mo de ye ko enanso mpo no enkane na ananka ye betra radio so anase nipa ba ko pe kogina kuro bi so kasa na yeso ono ana ye mfa na se mi ko no na tima kwa bruchira ba ana oni free nkran aba na na twem ene obi ote me nkura na se me nkuro nketo anum beka opa ade pe na bombesia ene adosu master nkwanta ni sika man no ofa ne phone otimi check de ekoso well market price o world market wonu hu price no sene yetie so ebe du ba bi say saban no ebe oban ni benya sika na wode abeto koko say auto cocoa no one bag 3,600 now they are market for turn on less than if I say 2,800 say Jan why na bedi enti ba bia duro no akoba say ye beti so na yato ana say yenko pesika meka ho ansa na yato amamo akuafo a sabe enye politics no mo ye no omo ankasa nim say to da bia bode ebo no ye to ne sei omo so omo double cocoa no ebidi bode adwa ebidi nchini dwa ebidi namudwa sani oto no no onim sani okoton no obi ani oto ade a ode befo ka akodwom no akoton no sani ewo from chain de oto no na sabe mi hu nipa kro no adwene ode edi se adwa no but the NDC ya maintain over the years ne say tell me I catch akuafo say yeti aban mu a sani world market price of cocoa tie bia no ye be mo at least 70%. Ubusa di aban obaya oya ye different from aban dada na okoye no say yan idea shebre she yensem na ya reset o man no me ne wo kase ubo gold di gold board Ghana you gold board na ye de buy na wo ho no and na ya sign agreement I be refining at least 1 metric ton per week every week you be refining a gold wa 1 metric ton. An agreement I signed just recently. I will phone no crab to my country. Plans are far advanced.
Na export how many metric tons?
Ona say the free back on come here. Woni me woni me nyina nim say. Yenti me so repre ko peka say ye be refining a gold nyina.
Krokro.
Na ka constitution. Ko anya constitution na ye bi. Ye mentality.
1,000 kilo.
Say ya dream say bibi nye ye. And say pre ko pe wo say fa bibia. No. Life, step by step.
If it must be done, it must be done.
Until the fact that you did Abba now you are signing agreement to even refine 1 metric ton per week, you know. A step to a greater future. Say within some utie na ready article now share agreement no more. You will roadmap. You are within 2-3 years, you know. You be cover bia, e be do be you gold you be refinance na ye de akọ. A laudable idea. Cocoa board. Abai say, idea SCC kire say e was a yenso ye making sure say be process your cocoa. So cocoa refinery. Cocoa processing you know. You see ye investment wo ho. Na ya revamp no. Na ya making sure say your cocoa no. You buy about 50% of the cocoa. You better than you knew
cocoa process.
They add value to it. Abano so buy no 1 year mo ani. So even so establish a factory. And the aquajas as say all the contract to credit ama contractor say oh my even the structure keka. You don't expect that within a year ya no where we be because even the feasibility studies the processing eco procurement the processing plants are here already. And how I catch us a processing plant no standard a bit about processing
but the truth is that we are already processing but the percentage quantum of processing.
So if you want to process more you need expansion. You need that expansion is an investment you have to make. You need to invest to expand it. And I'm a boy.
I don't come about.
I don't know. Mama the coin on team.
I don't see. Odike, no for Odike. Well, president never had. And I can say, Mr. Ghana, see you Ghana, ha? When you need to be brave. 1983, 1984, Dubai, na cocoa crying, so I'm from baby. Cocoa cow, my muha. And to make us who be that.
Yanti bosso that.
Cocoa cow, my muha.
Bani and tip also.
Sabrano, and your tea, as me say. O man panibia no was say cocoa salmon yamesem. Media be 7 yamesem. But because na ye cocoa naka. Na ya say yam fa cocoa ne nko. Me na me mo obi adi. But ye say salmon panibia
world market crisis here bia.
Yes.
But wan tip boso.
Wan to cocoa no so.
Wan tip boso.
Na wan to cocoa no so.
Na ko do obi
da cocoa no go kwapem say Rollins ebe fa akonya nyasa na obi ko ka say Ghana ha bin si da Rollins ne go step
okay
and oba ya okọ ni wodu bia asem ko so akoko ma ye so ye koko nyina ko habo e ba ye koko nyina sa de ko ye ko ton ye aye cocoa ni ye ma cocoa ni be gina aye President Mahammad ya waye we no that is a very commendable because obi oye leader should be able to take bold steps enetio ya nyina ya frefre ya busuafo no ne ye nanfofo cocoa gu ho amonya obi nto
ba omonte bo so
yes cocoa ni kuani no ya tene bo so no nim say ye man more than 80% of the price as compared to the previous one na abine for more than 62%.
What was on patrol? I am me holiday na me wo how kakra. You say yenso yebusuafo a ondi cocoa di djuma no what they tell us say saban ehwebo no mo a the norm has been that it's for the whole cocoa season.
Yes because
mebao into omu gina sa de ne so edi ye nyoma bebre based on that
edi asia wo
oh my we edi na ma da Ghana mo tun kwase
ay o my yes edi na ntoma ba ko e ka lo kana e bia ye kura sa enti omo no omo anne omo fita jamu yira na sa ba ne ba ye no afi ba ku ni wo ma ye nya ba bia ba
ye hwe free sa
enti e ka ho ye be hwe na e ka mo ko na ka da bia asafo kuko na wo ba ko na ba wasene na wutwa wo emfa because ye kai o man sa ko so ba e hihye ya ne akuafo wo o mampani e be kire sa ampa odwene kuafo eye se odeba parliament ade
unzo ni pa obre sini
oh Debbie
fiam
se si akọ maka cham se minya kasa o man man ndi ni me afi na my half of o kasa o kan
ya obre
koko odwuma na o mo ye 99% of sankuru no me ko tie wo mo yes obi ani ho oton ade a
ye hwan ne
bo ba fo mo e be ye ne de mo obi a begina ho nka se o mati ase ama ye o mo de but edu da bi a ye jitu mu say obi ani ho ade cha no pa person onum kuni adura enwono
be ehukui
but say ukọ yare a na ade cha no pa na say doctor say we na wo be don ma ho atowa
ehukui
ye jitu mu say ye dom sa situation ni bi na ewum because ye ntimi nka say ye nimu say aban na ye na adwe say ye nyina wa me ye MP wo e wo parliament MPs e sha ase a proposal suggested say yanti koko buo no so na yenye mema na yenye no enye no ye colleagues ni bi
as it be
what's that
Hazard no just
no Hazard and capture we off records and come on
you are speaking to the public
onu nim say for parliament no aside the former parliamentary business common bi wo ebi wo kwa parliament e koso kra no obi timi cross ko tra ne yonko nchan yi wese ye di nkomo a mo nyina ende ko do pon kroma wonim sika ho so wonim sika ho jeje ne wo be gira ho a wo kasa nyina no onim se de oye no e politics 99.9% but sa ono na ekuta sa de ya ene ye ko ya ka ono ka ontimi ni oni any better solution be other.
All right, so I was on Messaba.
So I don't think I pass here chire say why Odike why yengi sikali free wa ho ne mfa to sa akoko ne mfa no sa abo
Samanfa ma restore bona politically politically
wo de ane say
mami
ba wa de ka say ko do
masa akatiska
e da ho jina
akatiska
yo ya manu wo
akatiska in the minds and the hearts
any manu woni nje say be the president 2020 and I contest
ye fa chama kwafo e tira me tia no
me ma ko kwafo
mo ko
wo ka woni koko me je me wo kwafo mi
45 acres mimi ni koko yem so
and I'm assuming so
I'm so will be so
what is here very
no
the president is not looking at the gains in terms of politics.
No,
he's thinking the bigger picture, which is Ghana,
exactly.
And he will suffer the consequence.
This is
the president
that had it not been so now so price will matter any problem. So woman can be beyond and never to move 2005. Can nobody has a problem? Please, what to be 3,000 something. I'm about to be 2005. The disparities.
Disparities big. Me ba I can you old price. I remember almost $150 million.
Now, you never afford the cocoa national. We can invest cocoa. Empro.
Wo se say wa ka.
No more conventional agreement. No more conventional.
Alternative solution mami. Ba ko na me fan koma cabinet.
Dey di kan no. On say mo ba mo say energy crisis.
Me say Musa.
Oh me ba me.
Consultation okay.
Cabinet say.
Me
say president. Me na come president.
Yes.
With this crisis.
Na say na ye hihire o man.
Okay.
And with this crisis, and come find a levy. Because cocoa has been the mainstay. The patrol, please. Mama Kasa, what was some? I can make a levy. I got a phone now, contribute now. Yeah, they are pushing the shortfall. Levy, the patrol, what was that question?
No, okay, levy. Levy, you bet you are saying. No, Ben, you're saying. Please, and amount allow me to talk. What was your question? What was your question? What was your question, Mami Ansam? Say a TV 1 city 2 1 letter. Our fuel at Kokushin energy sector. Now, near side at the get fund, we will acquire for a fund to get fund. A businessman seeker and a Christian or port and a cost support education. Manu sound. I Esla, I don't know Esla by. Say, what am I? Number of examples. I don't know. I love you. Of course, to cushion it. I'm from Ghana for Hongo. Get your first say, I know your back and a mule.
Okay, your first answer.
Yemo bibia akwaba emfambra yem platform we eso enti uhwe video ni krojin na wotena se ebisa ho se enti Odike Ghana ho adwen papa on se o kasa nyina no Omanhene Kwabena Asante yi nani ena oto ho ena ohwe ma omo akeka nsem ade ati NDC communicator because Omanhene Kwabena Asante o ye na agenda dada ono na agenda eni se obebo NDC communicators ama MPP for anaso no ankasa bebo yama Ghana for Omanhene Kwabena Asante bebo NDC for anye ye memenka ho obebo NDC for di ama Ghana for no Ghana for so NDC for mu no ma wo bre NDC for se suban no na Omanhene Kwabena Asante edit journalism e okurum enye nwa second day Japan hwe ni nka chense wonim sebo fruit enye nwa. And Sansana Kennedy Kano from that time, but teacher at the American Japan up to one day. So to me, Omanhene Kwabena Asante in catching in a name, Cebu fruit, and pat on what? Because we are jandam journalist, we are stomach journalist, and I bet in a honor, I must say, Nimawi, Akoso. Ewo, why ye? Studios, and answer, ewo program so. Any reasonable journalist biano ebetena say obetena say bisa questions ma MPP for make advantage of this cocoa price at so from money abisi ha. Any reasonable journalist bia MPP ni manem fa your propaganda. Any reasonable journalist bia onimde oye na onyuso na furu our denanti biano or better say I be questions on him PP manning your propaganda. What in said Nasi Yanko tia Ivanche innocent Aquadenian Safo or no Wakasa watching our dream be. Oh, yet it shows your combined bet for Chilawaju conversation.
Come, I'm sure what's here for the chair, for quite some time now. I am very active, super active. Because the cocoa board conversation is very, 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 very important. You need to double up to be able to, meet, because there is a desperate attempt to spill a certain propaganda, and I think it's good he has doubled up to, meet that particular kind of propaganda. Cocoa board, just like any other state enterprises. So is Namakacho over the years, most of them are morphing into debt producing machines because a honor man for capture political power area or modidi sabi the excesses that we very often see. And Cocoa Board cannot be exempted. We'll go back to the last 8 years. Now here near my coso Cocoa Board, but the thing is that you see but have a catcher say whatever the story is must be told in plain language. So the average ordinary Ghanaian will understand the state of play because you try to talk about it. A man for will not pay attention to and seven so ECG was a classic example. But catchers are ECG. There was the need to undertake forensic audit, just like and Cocoa Board and any other state enterprise. So that you put Ghanaians on the notice. This is the level we are just trying because all that he's trying to do is to level up because there has been a massive mess up across board. The last time I told you about what happened in Scholarship Secretariat. So you need to put Ghanaians in the know. So after they have appreciated all the facts, then we are moving on. So anything you do will be like you are building up because the thing has been read. So because in modern governance, there is nothing like keeping the people in the loop. You must always put them in whatever that you are doing. Because if that has been done, I am not sure that the MPP today will have the moral audacity to step out there to talk about cocoa and your friend is considering Nema Akoso Cocoa Board in the last 8 years. Issue I didn't see. Nothing has happened. The only thing I say who take the side of the cocoa farmer because the anticipation was that I'll get more. Unfortunately, something has happened and price na conform. And Adiana I happy my price na conform beyond the control of government of the day. And it's not just Ghana. Cote d'Ivoire, they are crying the same thing. So it is only out of intellectual dishonesty. And my journalist at radio so seeking to impugn government to say some people at Cocoa Board deliberately assess that farmers and now a bina said that say farmers sika would deserve on farm more, which is a lie. You understand? Because the fact are quite clear. So say Abraham Mahama he made a promise to Ghana for say over the years. Yes, it's a because I cotton cocoa no abontia FOB price now you pay cocoa farmer na you can about saying 2023-2024 rising here to somewhere around $10,000 and somewhere $13,000 on other markets at the time not Ghana credit new to discussing so what translates demand it was less than 45% in terms of FOB price. So he says particular so the translation at the time will obviously go to 60 million 70 million that particular promise was honored because Sikana na at the early stages it was around $7,000. The government decided to pay $5,000. Yes, what translated into Ghana city at the time it was around 36 3,600 but now dollar 15 cities 17 cities obviously that amount of money no property yes na $60 million they would have got to that particular money. So it wasn't as if government at deceive farmers. So for a journalist to conduct an interview with Obi seeking to unstated this fact said these are the fact now or try to play politics about it that is the level of that is the level of intellectual dishonesty and how we can reduce this politics to and the government has done something in the history of this country. I'm not sure are you aware that today despite in some John Mahama is paying the farmer 90% of the FOB price in the history of Cocoa Board 90%.
In fact, from last year at a point now 99%.
Okay.
Even as at last year, you know why? The reason in say na see the national share appreciate against the dollar. Into 16 now more the year, Ube won't say Ababa be drew at a point, Ababa be drew 10. It's about be drew 10, then you quickly will have to give more because untimi and kotiku any there some fan koma any other stakeholder. It's now say show
yes.
At the point 99%.
So if such amount of money and I definitely no, you on the side of government want me any like say abandon any mindset to help farmers because you cannot kokoton ba bontin oba otami nyina de makuani. But the challenge is say there has been a downturn our your first cocoa market over the years ya more better year, and that is a fact across board. Say ya boy better year ebinka ya Nico Divo be able to determine the price ya cotton ya there. Yet ko say sa cocoa producing company ya wo 2023-2024 court to say mo dem gwabontina e ocean because of mismanagement under the Akufo-Addo administration. We better have a catch up. Sa your company no court to say yen ton e japade because omo de 300 million Ghana cedis our buntimintia. So these are the realities. A man for air shed air blare in the name of politics. And then who's a man for a signboard? Our bonten and as if what beside I say about sign a cocoa syndicated loan you need access to 2022-2023. The CEO quickly announced Ghana we are winning off from cocoa syndicated loan. Now as I say you're coming up with a different financing model. What beside us our financing model? No? Because we messed up the books of cocoa board to the extent that we could not go out there to access any loan. Cocoa cars supply. We couldn't supply. At the end of the day, there was a backlog of about almost 400,000 metric tons of cocoa. Now, cocoa, our you could not even supply that amount of cocoa to the farmer. And now these people have the moral audacity. Yeah. Aside that, you are messing up cocoa syndicated loan. No? Then the only financing model are buying by and send you transition to this cocoa bond initiative. Buyer-based financing. And the buyer will give you money where the 80% of the amount will be given to the your friends say to talk cocoa no. Now buyer now no do sika man or not space or monitor what is happening in the your friends say cocoa space no. Now price retable format or no catch us because what man was set up price into cotton old price. They will not agree. You understand? And then you now translate it into the state of play. So the fact of the matter is there is a challenge. And for me, the most important aspect of all this conversation has to do with the initiative for EBA. Are you aware that if this cocoa bond idea will go through for the first time, Ghana is going to have a sustained and a guaranteed financing model. I have addressed the challenge of going for cocoa syndicated loan as well because government is coming to borrow from the local banks. Ghana ni other banks no sasikan na auto bonda sasikan na deba beto cocoa. NTM fasono yam kotua sika ma bonten so ni sasikan will come to Ghana ni awodu sika na se forum. And for me, that is sustainable, and it's going to even help Ghana because henceforth we are not going to borrow in dollar denominations. So that is one good initiative about Bontia. As a Ghana must understand, and on what the opposition should know. Say for the first time, the Mahama say yes, there is a problem. We all appreciate, but I am coming up with a financing model that will address the over the years challenge. If there is any busia, Ghana for kind of rata timi ko floating bond awa bontema man for ta menso be floating bond awa Ghana need the sika to cocoa so say ye dia nkasa ye de sika and e ba beto cocoa again na oko 2022-2023 cocoa price the cost na aban decided not to pay cocoa farmer na aban say cocoa for na yasiso o mo check. So I am coming up with a legislation. That legislation will be that henceforth no government will pay cocoa farmer less than 70% of the FOB price. I am rather actually, and this is a casa buying big cocoa farmer. You should look at the long term. Immediately there is a challenge. There is a challenge in Nayajatum. But when she say any nasa for no deal go kwamuna. Say cocoa price, yeah, that's all China. That's a cocoa price per ton. And rise it to $100,000. Automatically, farmer is entitled to not less than $70,000. So it could be $10,000 because he's going to pay not less than 70%. So there is a guaranteed way of making sure say a buying beer in the future cannot take advantage of the cocoa farmer. These are the factual realities. But in the conversations, what to say will be about idea also. Because for them, their interest is about the politics, but the political bit of it, no, be so almost about the saying and you lose access to cocoa syndicated loan because they mess up big time. Many of the country, procurement are no more in terms of due sack and then as a form. Sika ya westi go back to 2022-2023 Auditor General report. Sika ya dema kwa brand money kwa tele wurem so the monitoring. Ya oti sika na wo yembe show. What I say, they messed the place up. And procurement in the na kwa ye o ya de the way ba na ya ye o kokra due site due sack bra na ya tia oka. I don't know the okoport one na ya roadu egu ha. I'm told, say, the in the next 7 to 8 years, we will not even need those things. But these people live behind this mess, and today they have the audacity to be walking around talking nonsense as if they care about farmers. When indeed, at the time, farmers, Nanka, they could have paid them more because the 70 million and the 60 million, they could have paid farmers. Yeah. But today they are telling you, say, oh, I'm not going to farmer, no business a cocoa board no state ben omuja no mu cocoa board the financing say the necessity omuja in a negative liquidity we are omokono the cocoa board had a negative equity as against positive one in 2016 about they took over. So a chair said everything that happened under cocoa board was a mess up. Road contract award and as a form a husikanum. So for me I think the language must be told. I am a bit disappointed when your friend saying cabinet decision by say going forward, some your friend is saying investigation must be conducted. This thing should have been done long ago. Casablanca, man for Gina Coto, you this particular conversation people will not have that moral audacity to be doing around. Yeah, because Nippon are mess up, their expertise when it comes to dirty politics. Or that is their game. And people they are by manner or they will mess up. Or the man so no best they are winning me and say in your position. So opposition so dirty politics, that is what they are good at. And think say politics now I sabi abaya the way we do it obi a wa mess up cocoa board like this your first entity no abaya debt producing machine over the years in the financing everything cocoa board books were so dirty to the extent that what no jail in this state of horror. And unfortunately there is a downturn at the international space and I collide and then opposition not all the first 1 year no omunya anything to accuse the government. So for them this is a perfect opportunity for them to visit on it and make sure say they destroy the government. It's the reason why for the first time Abanaba power there hasn't been a single propaganda a single scandal. But cocoa board issue now you say genuinely it is not just Ghana, it is happening in Cote d'Ivoire. A man for your whole billboard and what is the motive? Modern radio stations and the politics in this country is so cheap and they allow them to do this because the journalists who are supposed to probe them and ask them all the critical questions, they are not asking. What besides say procurement, due sack, what was the reasoning? Who gave them that authorization? Let's say go through procurement. What were the considerations? Because already, now some were locked up. NDC by maybe crowd portal in but people have been paid. So what besides say, what was the motive? When you knew the cocoa board was in debt. And then what beside about how the cocoa syndicated loan and why they were not able to provide a secured financing model for cocoa board because the Mahama buyer there wasn't any available way that is why they resorted to the buyer finance way and also it's not guaranteed because so this cocoa syndicated loan now because I loan you get guarantee but the buyer financing regime there is no guarantee because he is looking at the space and the turn of event and all the determine so the government committed and says so maybe I'm a person who go by the old price. The question is do you have money? Because Nippon or Nisika man on Tiasa or no such so you're gonna have a problem, you understand? Yeah. So these are the realities that I think say prosecution criminal investigation criminal inquiries na so and kana boat chi edu so hwan entimi nya kokoduro enkonkota metro TV are now seeking to ridicule say when they are wired for the past 1 year way and the decision partner when they have bet na cocoa board within 1 year betimi empty the fortunes of cocoa board. Nobody has been able to mention a single thing the gentleman has done apart from spurious allegations. Was sister cocoa board sika the akwakusi no betina dying into not before cocoa board before he became cocoa board CEO and so you see conversation so no be so say a day now we think say CEO na ye I mean tini am price yate so what has he done? It's just it's just a coincidence situation in Aba. And unfortunately, the last time I catch was the most difficult decision to take is you reduce the cocoa farmer in Nisika, because where I'm coming from, I may be biased towards the cocoa farmer, and that was why I told you, said it was a very dangerous political decision for government to take. But the Bahamas are telling us here who say cocoa board number a debt factory in the Siho. And either we find money to shop up the difference, or we allow it to go and pass it to the farmer. And yes, sir, cocoa board no sick is able to come out of debt. You know, how do we achieve that? You understand? So it is one of the most difficult political decisions to make. And for me, I think that the president weighing the pros and the cons, you know, and we're coming to the realization, say let us share the burden. And in governance, you know, transparency and your friend saying disclosure is very, very, very important. Men cost sector being so because as people will not listen to whatever you are saying. The very moment you occupy a place and there is a mess up, let people know. Say this is what has been done and take steps to ensure that prosecution you activate it. And so called national signals bureau and not that there is anything people will believe because the what has already been made public. So if there is anything and the conversation stirs up, people will easily believe it. But where nothing has been said, the depth and the nonsense that has been compounded at that particular place. So if you don't tell anybody and something comes up, and at that point, you think people because farmer is looking at about the bottle. But this whole conversation, a man for real $50 no swatting a man near months of wire for. No, I'm a cocoa farmer and I system million. $100 and stabilize the economy and that uniform impact on everybody. And cocoa sikanusanas are the cotadia. The value is high as compared to the previous one. These are the honest conversation that we need to have. So for me, I think that the MPP is only good at what they are doing, and the Ghana baby politics are devoid of your friends saying this kind of malice in the I'm not sure they will get any space regarding this particular cocoa matter. What I say, the fact of the matter is the same situation Ghana is going through, the same situation is going on in Cote d'Ivoire because and you produce about 60 to 70% of the whole cocoa you producing. And we must also be looking at how to put value on cocoa. Now it's a beyond maybe any assessor cocoa beans based on demand and supply and nobody determine. Unfortunately for us, and China and other countries out there are also growing cocoa. Then as a form, what I say, and maybe because of I'm saying because if you have premium value for the 2 years, we will lose it. You understand? So we must begin to look at how we process cocoa, add value to it. Now, now you'll be able to determine price because as long as I so good bottom from Kwame Nkrumah pencil and you how to add value to it, always they will determine the price for us. So I think that this is an eye opener. This is not the time to be blaming Obi. Where there is no fault, you try to find fault. Baby, an cocoa board has gone wrong. It is a state institution. You have every right to criticize Obi. But when nothing has happened, you don't just invent scandals, invent scenarios just to malign certain individuals because you don't like them. It's not about that. It's about cocoa board. And for me, I think the difficulties are there. But my culture says, yes, amidst the storm, how you are able to calm your composure, being able to come out with solutions, and I think that John Mahama has demonstrated quite clearly. He's on top of his job. That is why what produces that kind of secure financing model now. Other things are also coming to play with your cocoa board. So I think in as much as people are spending propaganda, in as much as the cocoa farmer is disappointed, which is the new, I am telling them, it's not just Ghana, it's across board. It's unfortunate this thing is happening, and it is happening because of systemic failure on our part. Because over the years, we haven't been able to add value. Over the years, any secure source of finance, and I'm for the cocoa see come. They have to supply extra cocoa as against the previous price because in we are supposed to produce over 600,000 metric tons of cocoa, 800,000. They were able to supply just 400,000 because last year I think 500 quite new. So what you need to settle. You need cacao, cocoa beans, and the boca. Sikani you did that. Now I made a best supply and papa and a best supply, and then these jokers are out there trying to. I think we need to get serious. And I'm urging journalists in this country when they come to your studio, ask ask them the critical probing questions that will put them on their feet. Because if you give them the microphone and they just say anything and get away, at the end of the day, it's just politics. And where we are today, and I think that we've moved beyond that cheap politics. We must be critical, very. Your friend say we need to make inquiry into issues and ask all the critical probing questions. Them not Ghana dienya ntiase na anya say asama ba aban na yatwe na wani ye scandal we aban de ne nyina so and you hear obi ahurasim and omoye adwo you are the key architect of everything that happened.
Some kalewe ma ye na afi ye be ko other issues so a miracle accuse we see you say or the cocoa board sika renovate ne fie awotimo or the akonya rubber shehu ene na cocoa afum ena afen so ye say enra staff no wan consult wo mo enti nra no mo ye protest against salary cuts na mo de aba
I don't know yeah adwuma cocoa board ho
yeah you say when jai abetwa obeden
akokon sure de obehu bi
because it's in Kwanjua Sabeka for and the sneaker bishe. And yes, I'm coming, yes, sure, say, in Commodie, I will say, a consul. I'm say, Ura and the Abeni, Omunini, so Omunini, because as we speak, a year over 1 year, I'll be a cocoa chief executive, but in fear. And if you meanwhile, I was so cocoa board me money baby a day.
It's not.
But in fear, or you zone one a car, and it's the cars.
Cocoa board man a car.
Cocoa board ABC and me. We need cocoa board car or a day. In fact, so we cocoa board chief executive. Me a say, and now say Ubeko a year a coffee cocoa phone. No wakosra kuku afford intini. That's all kwa me ama car kese baako. And no ba me krum se hia. Now they are dem. Odi aba. Because kwan no wa. E na kwan no so baabi bebre enye dem enye. Nti na odi aba se de be ya o car no. Na mu bedu nkran de a. Enu nya so be yusu car kese no. Na fuel abaye car. Nti ya me ye peka kuma anase ne yefe saloon car na epibi ne de yeden na ye de amount na wonim eye owura rande abebae no saka mienu ni nyina no waye den ametubu ne mu nketwa na ewo mu no yesi owura Omanhene Dubai no na ono ankasa nso no nyame ani na bro na owo ne bibi no owo car no okọ no ose saka no besan ye den e de akọ into the peso
auction ana ofakoi
say o auction you so one auction abra na o mampanyini eye akufo adumpa ka say ma obia wona ban mu a obeto card ya ede afo na wa auction car na ama
ne ho
ai say me
nti bwan yedu a auction saloon car na wo kokko
yes BMW wa auction ama ne ho because policy no man ho kwanti no wan feli kuku ni na nyu o de ama ne ho o de call. And you see, these are the very people. Me papa, or some me boss, and ne ba Michael, it mean the audacity. You could not tell your father say, Abba, a janya kuku boda ye we. E bi assume so ma ene enu bi mpo ne de ko pray MPO for the krum. Eye madoma ye de fertilizer ammonia agrochemicals ko ho ko che man crofo mo ne ade a ema yetumi ye den enwini se akuafo wo eye ofori krum. No doubt about it. Say akuafo wo ho ne ade ye ne nam so nya opportunity. You understand? I benefit you. It has benefited you. It has benefited you. And on the basis of that, UDMP and you can criticize. When me and two papa for said that yensi ho. Share 8 years. Eya na ye me ya. Uko tu baby na kukubo chief executive ni fie no wo e wo cantonment a. Na me anye wadom a obeka ne yenkase be fie ho ye bola so. Efi.
Asante Region residency. That was the same. So that was a culture.
A thing. And you ask yourself, say, Inti ahana Kokobo chief executive oyede. Ote. O dear men creative in the impression say, oh yes, I will shada so no kweni na bro. But a ye kweni no japade no.
To so korano.
But also what I say, a ye kweni no japade as a kweni ne ba en kran kwa na e ka che ne say, a ye wo japade enia e manipa no hunu ne say ah wa mobra fun ana wa mobra bonin hu be bia na sa dan ni si ene nia ite say ya ne say bola ye two fingu ho a e mekweni ne kura ye den itia se bebrebe ye nya e wo meso mfaso no intie ni then you come to question say inti dan we na opinion pa bi ye den etimu ana no opinion pa bi ye den etimu ana. And you'll be so sad to show what you'll be so sad. Yeah, you'll be so sad. It's on record. Around there be and for Kokobo one seed in pool and koye ni fear or tim goes around there ban abeban sabi champua but nyami abdom
on the son in a day.
So what I say on the son in a day. Obi eni wa yes, a pumpun so ye den etogum o me ya hantan anadwe enka se me hu so ye den asomagare entisa nanso no adwene pobi wo ho se ade ni koku kuani na japade de e wo se mitimi ye den ekura me ese mitimi kura me
ente your official resident of
Cocoa Board and now onim they be a papa we on or cansama or say on the car kwan ye de tapoli kata so da baby a Cocoa Board dancing no e ho na e assassin with e dey e wo
ye
baby
assassin wa mo ye ye
enti assassin with e ho na ye dey
e mo ye adjacent
but also what as e ho na ye dey e ho it you assassin radio enti it means say me ya de bonia assassin radio MPP for na ye dey e ko ho say me ye bibi bonia it is a mayor baby a MPP for a day. Ebe bochenku. But was what I say.
Yeah.
A MPP bochenku. I want to come here day. Come here no. Tabi. But yes, say utimu fita in some one a day. Inkum. Nemuno. So we do am kontumpo bura. If you feel man. Ibina ekoswa. Eye se osuru sentasio. Aka miracle. Anya miracle na no ati yayi. Eye Sia College di omo say eye sika de mo for campaign almost say ankwe and the same person. It's not the same person. It is the same person. But and he's on the rant. Say ogobi anymore say. Around there be makan on several platforms say enye no wofane na na de dan kwakufa do. No be dina de atamakunya to ka mu ayede akusie fu.
Photoshop and another.
Miniaba, Namedja say, ah, Yam Fabian day, uncle. All through a baby around the Kubiano. Met me the main day at so. Met me the main quarter to say offer Namedjana plastic chamber to the Kermukoya. Nankopon main confusing. It is never true. It's never happened. He can never be disrespectful. No, but one say Ghana for a young Kofoa, Yenim Ahoyede, our Oje. The Kaipa first years, you say, me mammy will bet me out to canned beef. Canned beef no bet me that she would do. Wow, ye knew, I will be back. Now you're not yet so on. And that is the nature of a young Ghana for. Into ko now Kosra or more. Onu podi o si de bia me besra mo a me pekoko efuo ni mu e ho na me pese me nemo ye den
eye meeting
etina adentina miracles alpha video no a insûlts to a owura ran de gina mu na oni kokokua for ye den edin kom ogina nsuo num sabe kafro metiwa mi wani ya de mani ya me ya owura ran de social space eso obi anani na so no gina den nsuo ni mu se kwe ni gina nsuo ni mu a how dare me Say me copy baby I dey. Atina amagina. I don't know who produces a video. And then they went Koto de ne bodre home. Na enche no aboa. Is that the case? I mean, is that the case? Say, yampe bibi mu bi enu ase. Ni egu enu ase a. Na o mira kese na nkese egu enu ase okuri mu. Si egu enu ase a. I say ki egu enu ase. But I'm not sure say eno ne kwan pa no a e wo say ye dey ye yamanusem. No. Ora randi no so say ye can masem. Or ye bibi na enya genuinely. Say it. Anybody you out here. So what I say, you're out here. But said dia nipa no nye den. Enye. Now we say BBC inti memfa ho enye den enim semwa emfata. Enim semwa emfata. To what end? Near Owura Mahama eti any information onyame. There is nobody in Ghana who gets that information. There's nobody who gets that information. Why Nenya? Anamebo, who gets that information? Inti nyawu miracles so ye no. Enye no, you will not be the person to advise the president as to who to appoint or disappoint.
Okay.
Inti enye no. But player you will mean. And in the midst of Ohawi, 50,000 metric tons na echinyeshwa bahwa na akoma akuafo ne kasano and na owura randiabe ejina ho bema Cocoa Board have paid about 1.1 billion to LBCs no and na 237 million cedis coin and 854 million Okabuma almost 1.1 billion. LBCs no license buying companies offer more. On make catch say scanner day. This is what we should be talking about. This is what we should be talking about. Sure. Okay. And around the buy. Around the buy. Cocoa Board headquarters in head office. And on the Chishegu Akoma every month be anya ko to me save fuel from 600 to 1 million Ghana cedis. From 600,000 to 1 million Ghana cedis. Savings of fuel. Savings of fuel in Kwan. I'm telling you, in the coming days or weeks, after say 1 year negotiations in every procurement be what will happen.
Okay. Comment on the salary pay cut so that you
salary pay cut.
Chief Justice.
Yase ene sa or how we are then abeshia. Because from day one, what we see around the beard from day one, we're complaining about a year salary. Say a dozen dodo. A dozen in the sense say sika you need salary no. On say because of who say my phone no kwampo ye den a dozen makukubo. You understand? So all trust as taking this decision no. Enya do ye den obwa like obrehu because what justification sabenya saben pa na bebemu a ebema obi a wo koku kueni ebre so mfa so ne di tua nka wo memeti ese bosome ebe so ne ebetua meka enye mabusua musika ne di tua meka
koku
kueni ne tua into ono no ohawa bama misika sem eso atia wo Cocoa Board staff. And I will be so surprised to see any Cocoa Board staff what bread is say more ayo cocoa create ninu a wama wo ho banfa so because any cocoa create for Cocoa Board dining so and the airport farm. What will be the relevance? Entine enka I would say yempo ne yehu ne say jo ye be didi agina cocoa create ni so Inti sa brewe mu po no senka meje me salary bosu mi po na ni hu kokokua ni na meka se fa so sika so mpo a kanchen na ya teso a ye say labor for say omumuni ya oh Charlie inti sometimes no is it the bia na ye begina emraso to argue or what? Is it that they be an ebejina emraso? Can't we be sensitive and morally upright for once, considering situation I the woman? Maybe 2 way. That's what around the catch and say for 3 months. Unya pay because of Kuku Kianina. Yes, sir. That is fine. Because it is to support a worthy cause. It is to support a worthy cause. In the 1 year and also no around the eye any day. The bonding is in. In the end, I buy so no catch and say, okay, Kuku board no, a normal koye. In Tinsiciano, the meet me and say nipa 4,000. Out of a more 10,000 ovals, and I meet me no my juma. In the Mama corner, labor, Mama and Tinase. So that dance you said they will hold there, back on there, better. What would you do at that time? No, Sabren, what would you do? Sometimes we should be reasonable. Minka say, Ebia and ha, ya mekahun. But I thought that, Yenny Yan Kasa Yahuna Yajineno, in Sinchen.
Okay.
Yahuna Yajineno, Yenny de in Sinchen. Let's look at the greater picture and see what we can do. We'll be more than to do what? To support.
All right.
But so one yanisa. One yanisa. Now, like
as a conscience.
Yes, because how can you live with your conscience?
How? Conscience in your
How do you justify this? Come on the basis of law.
Okay.
Say be a mremu and I say. You bet me jina mra no so aka to say ye ma wa redundant.
Yeah.
You bet me jina sam mra. So. They can base on the law to do that.
Okay. And see, I will say, may I sure say near the whole what's in Yemenina as say. Ivan, Yansha, other issue, I think another big story, a couple board issue, a Chief Justice and report or the buyer say, Premier Fancy case or establish your petitions, ye they buy a far, electoral commission, and I think so, special prosecutor. Timpacho. Can any kind of rata you need dear free Interpol also,
yeah, I think that we are Ghana near we believe in accountability now. We had near my electoral commission a year in the last 8 years, and you see, Yatua Banawie, there has been a change of government. Transition has been smooth. There is calm, relatively calm. Subsequent to that, electoral commission are conducting few elections. A year calm. So for the average and the ordinary Ghanaian, the mind is at peace. Oh, everything is okay. Let's leave them. But you see, you need to flip and still go back to the past and look at what happened in the past. So, past. So now analyzes you will come to a single realization is that this group of people at the electoral commission messed up and they deserve to be punished or they deserve to be removed. And now I say baby or they don't deserve because of their cause in the past. In line with the constitutional requirement, the only way the president on his own cannot wake up and say, "Make a PAM electoral commission." So just like it happened in the case of the Chief Justice, petition was submitted and a process is go through go through, and then the Chief Justice concludes only grounds be worthy to trigger the subsequent process. I think it's understandable. That is part of democracy. I am a bit disappointed because when me too many name are causing the past, I was expecting maybe some value or certain credentials could have been established in this particular instance to trigger the next process. But if this is what has come out of it, I'm sure it's also good for our democracy, because on the other side, few days ago or few months ago, the same process was triggered, and then that got the Chief Justice out. So another process, getting another person out, you know, in a political scene might be interpreted in a different way. You may have your legitimate grounds and so forth, but when you're careful politically, you know, it will also color the government and will be sending a different signals out there. Say, when I also believe in democracy, but saying and a state institution head and so forth, what can be so remove. So I think within this particular contest, you know, it was a reasonable outcome. But for me, I think it does not stop us to pursue accountability. It does not also stop us to make sure state institutions, constitutional bodies will be responsible. So the Nipana will not go and assume a posture, say, oh, I am the favorite, I am this aligned to this person, I am the president, this, that, so I can do whatever that I want and get away with it. No. That is the sort of way going forward. No, may expect to say you bet me a year who free and who say every individual is solely responsible for the actions and inactions, and the other be as a go on toward that. You must be penalized for that, because I am not sure that German son today who friend better why the people of Central Union as of one were denied constitutional representation for a period of 4 years. She won't get anything sensible to tell you. You understand? And Nipana almost suffer that particular fate, you know. A dear bang, and I will expect that because the development they were supposed to get at the time, you know, you deny them, and that was a sacred constitutional requirement. They needed to have a representation, but certain individual, one person, at the behest of her twisted discretion, you know, decided I will disenfranchise you, and she did so expressly, using your friends as 30 winning as a forum. So for me, I think that some of these things cannot go unpunished. You understand? In as this petition has failed, there are other avenues of people who were denied that constitutional representation, you know, have any way be now. We need to going forward, you know, we must guard state institutions, especially the fragile ones. And fragile ones, you know, the EC is one of them. In a Abina system, and she knows Abina or the buy, you know, etifie. Different government has come, and as human, definitely they will try to dance to the tune just to make sure I'm for you. But you see, you are not for anybody. You are for the people of this country, because your allegiance isn't to the person or the buyer, it's to the people, the constitution, and to the flag of this country. And that is to be your sole motivation as all the year. But unfortunately, nobody years, you know. Yeah, then I had it. So we have your friends about Manasara, and send me a nephew and know about proud to the elections. And yeah, they engender confidence, trust. We have the Magan and the Nya Hotosum. Appear Jayana, Obia, Nimse, or your test con, your friends executive. Such a sensitive position, now President, I confirm not NDC Electoral Commission. Electoral Commission, and the umpire, a neutral body that is supposed to, you know, or also by her election. Once sometimes it's not about the outcome of the election, it is the conduct and the behavior of actors around it. So Manfonya certain misgivings, certain doubt to be about your neutrality, and that alone no, can give them a cause to rebel. And we have sub-region, electoral misunderstanding and as a forum in the sub-region, Oko Sudana, and yes, I'm on because they felt that the system wasn't fair to them. Burkina Faso and now they see very unfortunately spill over of some of these political misunderstanding and degenerating into religious factions. The Islamic rule and the church of mind. So these things, you know, if you don't manage some of these things well, there will be a spillover, and spillover not bad won't be in control. So for me, in as much as you say electoral commission young fine way, doesn't absolve them of the criminal activities that they did at the time, the biases that was shown to the people of this country. Ghana for one, they decided, said, we are sick and tired of the old regime, we are voting to change government. So we had a massive vote at Mahama. There was not any electoral commissioner or commissioner could have done anything to change anything. They had no other option. And even I keep saying this, election day, no. So that was why I commended Dr. Baumia when he did that particular early concession, because at the time and NDC and the coalition we MPP now electoral commission input two figures square together, and the silly justification they were selling, they say various way now your agents, they were not allowing them. Since when? And the electoral commission conducting election, the agents man access to figures and then as a forum, they wanted to plunge this country into chaos and then as a forum, but because of that early concession I buy and AEC tension and the calm return, that is why we had this kind of peaceful way. That is why I keep your friends saying commending Dr. Baumia for what he did on that particular day. But electoral commission quite get danger. So for me, electoral commission cannot absorb itself. And then back to the special prosecutor. I think that the noise around this may say is becoming too much. Now NDC for Baba Jama election outcome by quickly, then he issued a statement. I am conducting that. You see, they should be very proactive, not reactionary. Because MPP they are not all pinning to the NDC. These things happen different on different occasions. Yeah. So why do you say I'm investigating the MPP NDC the other MPP the NDC last week in media just for cosmetic work? I think you see fighting corruption. It is not about this comic reactions and as for people must be seen actively on the ground working for the good and in the interest of the people of this country. When yes, Ghana for so much disappointed, there is nothing that I'll buy Ghana for because special prosecutor by if you look at the amount of money I just sink into that particular enterprise. Now I had the outcome. There is nothing sensible to justify. It's the reason why at some point in time there was this heightened cause. Say the special prosecutor office must be disbanded. Yeah. There is nothing sensible about them rationalizing why they should continue to be paid. Because my culture says in fighting corruption, you don't need many entities, and so for all that you need is political will and commitment on the part of the few actors around to do what they are supposed to do. You understand? And that kind of orata is out there. Yeah, you need your friend is saying, and it's not anything surprising because the gentleman is in custody. If the processes go through, whether he will be brought back to this country or whatever how you want to do. But for me, whatever it is, Kenofurata cannot win this particular event, a tag of war going on because the price for all this thing and the prison a shame. That's what people don't know. Yeah. The price for all this tag between Ghana, US, and then Kenofurata, and the prison or repatriation, and a tag of shame. Because for a whole finance minister, addresses to support war for Sekojira Parliament, quoting Bible verses and so forth. Today, you've been called upon to come and account to the people of this country. Now, look at what is going on. Well, Ghana is your motherland. You are from here. Yeah. You say home is home. Then excuse you from coming back to this country. Now you are fighting the state using every resources available. So one there is nothing that will take me away from this country. And I say I will not come back to my country. For the end, out there, what is there? Home is home. You understand? People travel for something. In the end, everybody comes home. So at this age, what is it in the United States of America? Even a Kufuor who messed up this country, what destroy a mine and then you go to the party class, or no one in them chroma say. So people should not look at it in the other way. The shame alone is enough because for her finance minister say money that should be a big communication. So the state will do whatever they take. My culture say at this time the thing is not within Ghana's purview to determine whether Kenofurata will come or not. Even the debate when court trial Ghana will not be part of it. US acting as our proxy, they will go there with legal representation. Ultimately, the day you decide to say then we go ahead and do whatever that we need to do. But still, or say, oh man, or better and if he's going to stay there forever, that is up to him. And also widen the scope and make Ghanaians understand. Say, you move at the time and Akufo-Addo's governance, was nothing more than a criminal cartel. And justify it. Because the whole finance minister who was sitting at the center of this whole financial machinery at the time has decided, say, oh man, and today he's fighting the system because he is the key architect at the center of everything that happened in this country. And then I give credence to the fact that Abani indeed was a criminal organization. And he was in not because say or qualified. He was in because the one for being the president and the friend of and when people get that easy access to places like this, they messed up. Abante ya no nam Cocoa Board or Kasamo or more. Say no more my FM. For my FM promotion, all we know and I'm somewhere one deputy director. He got it easy, but when you got the people were there. Cocoa Board has been overstaffed to the sense workers a good Cocoa Board. The Cocoa Board no boka, but they overstaffed it. Answer na buying by the corner. And yes, said Nipa Guru with your appointment letter. In Dubana, we or more. Who cause a problem? There will be a political backlash. The enterprise is sinking. And these people today have the moral audacity out there. So yeah, for me, I think that they can not come to one conclusion. Akufo-Addo will remain the worst president in the history of this country, because they are dealing with a remnant of bad governance that he left in his wake. These are the facts. What for your finance minister say that alone. Yes, so you walk in the hall of shame. So for me, I think that whether he comes or not, the price is shame, and he's going through it. But finance minister, only a man 40 prison we are. Your friends say you determine time from now on you could do nothing or to detention center like a petty criminal, and you think that is okay.
Jeremy, fire point, a time of passion.
Yeah, we did me the baby. I would say, make and say, so should be a chief justice. I had my and so I'm not conscious, and a decision beyond so I'm taking. I respect a sad decision because said I'm kind. You are my opinion on your day. So on the basis of that. I trust the judgment of His Excellency the President. I think it is a nation all building. So I associate with
all right, Mamenda Sama say, meaning saying Yamia Doma, Obako grounds or co grounds or no buy a best signing that she be enough here, Resenia.
Enti, one who the Ivan is Hikasa, and he is speaking with facts. Ivan Yen DC ni, Ivan Yen PP ni, Ivan a common sense Ghanaian. Onama wisu na adwen. Ivan yobi a wisu na adwen. Ono no. Onye se chenchi achi. Me support NDC. Anase me support MPP wadi wi ho. But osusu se nema we nkoyi a he will do the right thing. Obeka setia. What you say? Odike se watini party. Yimisa up to now Odike party no. Omako election am Odike party na akobida. Yimisa ya ho. Odike party na ala nkra nyina dwun so 50 party ni mo. Ene ala na ti party it me contest election. Enya man bi. Ala cheddar kwada ketwa we. Odike party no cheddar ya kwada njafe no bobra. Ene cheddar bobra at party it minya e man bi. Votes elections. It's a so Odike minya bi. Because adwumbone e she Odike team no. Sabi ene she akpalu team. Adwumbone e she Odike team no. Sa adwumbone na bi ene she akparu. Minkai ahwefo ya last year airplane no and I say helicopter the crash here. Tin sama akpalu kan ya. Say kokwakwafo a omonfo musika dodo na momo ene nenam so na man DC. Panfo si yakoti ato. Oye panyin na odwin sa adwen ya. Ebe den e do man shawunsa watimi abu man ni ye. Oye panyin ne se sa adwen we hyentrima. Ebe ye den ene se bia buru se bia nyaado. Eri di bia bi shawunsam se hwe man ne so a watimi ahwe because adwen papa na otremu. Adwen papa na otremu. And you are not ready to serve your country. Inti sa adwene na Odike de ne trimu. Sa pepepe na palu na damfo so bi de ne trimu. And these are all Asantefo. They have sat down to realize they will never allow NDC to lead them. That is why selfishly omoti omunkoto koti omwayi omu party. Selfishly omoti omunkoto omu party. Odike otu so okoka nsem bi mo mu twa na suru firi Asante mamu minim sesese de omo so mbra de a because oye panyin na no sei e kan nsem wa obi ya wa nenam Obi anenemu. Odike is that guy who speaks anyhow on camera, who speaks anyhow when they are giving him a platform. It is such a person speaking against the government. Me mega me to ya because in Suban in Jumadi. So man who da continue party say you continue party. And Casadrium Papa now, any say any no, or the Bebwa MPP and NDC, and answer one Casa, or the Bebwa Ghana. But the educated party in business say, how many people in a more or the keep party in what me a bomb and move my. You get it. You get where I'm taking, where I'm bringing the conversation from. And here, Casa said, Ayana people don't understand. Omanhene Kwabena Asante tena hɔ no jolly atena hɔ ama Odike edi NDC anim NDC communicator anim twitwi fam because Omanhene Asante dwuma odi ene no Odike abɛyɛ ama no nti ɔbɛtena se ahwɛ no edu ekyiri ɔman edi wei ɛyɛ ɔman ma no yɛyie journalist ɛne ɔmo ti kurom ha no kɔre asa ɛna ɛne ɔmo ti ha ɔmo bɔ ɔmo tirim bia na ɔmo ka obi tim betena on platforms ɔmo nkɔhyɛ no na waka de ɔpɛ no wasɔre kɔ. Are you not? Anya Kenya journalist baako ne nsɛm kɔkan ma Kenya woduto ɛma nsɛm baayɛ. You get it? Nti kurom ha no asosɔ nneɛma bi so ɛna ayɛ normal ya normalize no ɛna yɛtete ha. Na nkɛnte sanka bi te sɛ Omanhene Kwabena Asante from nowhere ɛna nkɔbɛtumi aka asɛm de ti NDC. Because these are the people MPP who have been more criticized. They always watch aloof because omo bottom ni hiomo anyo mind. And nanka abenya who need audacity to sit on your show or even host any political party apart from NDC communicator to criticize because aband that was wrong. You didn't do that. Even when you did that, one criticize aband because you think say your political party and they were paying. And 7 doors. Mr. Also, bet you comment section. Macau, bye bye.